Useless facts, mysteries, and curiosities about GTA 5. In this video, you'll see the secret system Rockstar uses to avoid repeating any NPC in the game. Indestructible oranges, weird bugs, emissions, angry NPCs, animal signs in the desert we've never seen, leftover development content, improvements you didn't even know existed, strange physics interactions, cars going through walls, NPCs glitching out as they walk by, and giant cockroaches. This and many other details you'll see in this video, or videos ahead. If that's not enough to earn your like by now, I'm already counting on it. Let's get into it. Have you ever stopped to think about how Rockstar manages to create such a huge variety of NPCs in the game? Well, they use a very simple but very smart technique. All the NPCs we see in the game during our gameplay share the same base with a lot of variations. So you might have a female NPC, and as you can see, she's wearing different tops. Those tops come in different colors and even different styles. The NPC's face also varies quite a bit. It's not just hair and clothes. There are changes in accessories, pants, shoes, basically everything. So that's how Rockstar manages to create such a huge variety of NPCs in GTA, by swapping out the accessories, while the base and essence of the NPCs stay the same. And what's even more interesting is that there are multiple bases, meaning there are several base models that can vary. A single modeled NPC can have hundreds, actually dozens upon dozens of combinations. It's practically impossible for us to come across two NPCs that are exactly the same in GTA. So it's a very simple yet clever technique to create density in the GTA world. During the Daddy's Little Girl mission, there's a pretty funny bug that can mess with your gameplay a bit. After a certain cutscene, the game isn't really ready for you to get a wanted level. So if you move away from the yacht and manage to get a wanted level, just use the shortcut there and then go back to the boat. Just like when boarding the yacht, you'll notice that the chaos is literally dancing for no reason, dancing on its own, because they forgot to handle this exception in the mission. If you're the kind of player who likes to push the game to its limits, I don't recommend trying to ride onto the ammunition with a bike. And speaking of bikes, motorcycles in GTA 5 have kind of a broken physics system, as many people know. And it's not just because you can fly with them, that's already well known, but did you know that if you reverse on a bike, you can climb almost any hill in the game, thanks to the wonky reverse physics? Apparently, some programmer forgot to handle that physics exception. So, the bike can climb literally anything. The cops and security in GTA 5 will chase after any vehicle at all, even the most outlandish ones, I'd say. And even though there aren't actually snakes roaming around the desert in the game, there's a sign warning visitors to watch out for them. Unfortunately, they never show up, so tourists and players don't really have to worry. If you go to this location, you'll find an object that went unnoticed during GTA's development. As you can see, the texture used on this billboard wasn't meant to be in the final version of the game. Some developer just slipped up and forgot to replace this temporary texture. See how it says temp? That's basically what developers use while the game is in development, to signal to the map design team that this object isn't finished yet. So they model the billboard first, and then another design team comes in to put a specific billboard artwork, just like in many other spots across the map. This has been in the game since launch, and Rockstar never fixed it. Now, one thing Rockstar did fix, but probably not intentionally, are these tiles on the Los Santos beach. After the Contract DLC, Rockstar ended up hiding these tiles, probably because the original real-life artist asked for them to be removed, or maybe there was some legal issue. So yes, Rockstar hid and removed those tiles. Honestly, I didn't even notice. Thanks to our amazing Lucas though. Increasing a character's strength stat makes you climb ladders just a little bit faster, and very subtly at that. I don't even know why Rockstar did this, since it's almost imperceptible again. If you're the kind of player who likes to push GTA 5 to its limits, you can actually drive this Mini Cooper inside Mike's house. Rockstar, seriously, did you really think no one would try that? Some objects in GTA 5 are scaled way below normal, like this car here, which looks like a dwarf car. If we place it side by side with a normal car, a car that's scaled incorrectly, you can see the difference is brutal. It was probably some slip up by a dev when scaling this object. Some objects in the game have really strange interactions. If the player collides with the sign, nothing happens, but if they hit a trash can and the trash can hits the sign, it just disintegrates. It's a really bizarre interaction. There are also some random events in the game that add to the living world feel that Rockstar Games is known for. However, not everything is that well polished. since the player doesn't always see these events up close. For example, this pilot landing on Trevor's airstrip after getting off the plane, not only does he exit it in a really awkward way, but he also walks right through the plane's propellers as if nothing happened, and then stops to smoke his cigarette. Here's a simple comparison of two similar situations between GTA 5 and our glorious GTA 6, which is on the way, but we can already take a look. Time really has passed, and the graphical difference is brutal. You can see in the image on the right in the GTA 6 shots, the differences are just insane. Here's another comparison of the same situation in GTA 6 versus GTA 5. Man, seriously, the graphical difference is brutal. And still in this line of visual comparisons, one of the main improvements I hope for in GTA 6 are these roadside and everyday locations, mundane places. In GTA 5, you can even see that Rockstar tried to give life to these spots, but there are very few NPCs spawning here. There's a little fruit stand in the middle of nowhere, but basically there's no one there to sell the fruit. You can't interact with anyone. The stand doesn't have an interior, just some vehicle parking around it. And the vehicles there look kind of abandoned because you rarely see anyone stopping by. However, this place feels kind of dead, and while we're at this stand, I decided to do some tests with the fruit here. I tried shooting a few to see if they have individual physics, but it gets kind of weird sometimes. When you shoot these crates, some oranges just kind of squash out of nowhere and scatter across the street. The funniest part is that after testing these oranges, some of them end up breaking. I mean, when you shoot them, a little wooden particle comes out like you're shooting the stick inside the orange. Other oranges, I even tried some tests like running a tractor over them, but as you can see, they don't break, they just keep rolling. No matter what you use to go over these oranges, they won't get destroyed. An indestructible orange, as you can see. Did you know that there are some animals in GTA 5, but they're inanimate? They exist, but they don't move. Theoretically, they're alive. The first one is the starfish, which can actually be found on the ocean floor in GTA 5, scattered across various locations, especially in shallow areas. The second inanimate animal you can find in the game is this snake, which is inside the vanilla unicorn in the dancer's locker room. It's technically alive but completely inanimate. And still on the topic of animals in the game, did you know that near the Los Santos gas company, you can find a giant cockroach? Yep, a giant cockroach that was probably poorly scaled by the developers again, another scaling issue. And when they spawn randomly in this part of the map, they end up huge. And I'm serious, it's really giant. The same doesn't happen in other parts of the map. So besides inanimate animals, we also have giant cockroaches. For those of you who are squeamish, beware. In this area, there's a roadside hotel in Sandy Shores called the Yucca Motel. This motel was apparently demolished or abandoned due to problems in Central Shores, which, for those who don't know, was abandoned because of the lake in that region. But we'll save that for another video. The point is, even though this hotel exists, Rockstar only left the sign and an empty parking lot that doesn't lead anywhere. This would actually be a motel. So why can we see this billboard here advertising the motel? Like I said, it was demolished and there's no trace left of its existence. There's no sign that any demolition took place. So even though Rockstar made sure the motel existed, because we have all this advertising claiming they have fridges, air conditioning, and a bunch of other stuff, the hotel is basically a ghost and we never actually see it in the game. At least the motel's parking lot has power for people to park. For GTA 5 veterans, it might not be news that stick bombs are very sensitive explosives in the game, but honestly, I didn't know about this one, and when I found out, I couldn't believe it. If you throw a sticky bomb at a fire hydrant that's leaking water because the player collided with it, boom, the bomb explodes. Imagine the person who discovered this for the first time. They must have been completely shocked. If you're fast enough, having a forklift can be the start of lifting just about anything in the game, and that could be your first step toward witnessing scenes like this. And then your imagination is the limit. If you time it right and get out of the vehicle while the forklift's prongs are rising, it can lift almost anything in the game, from the heaviest objects to the lightest. And yes, you can lift a forklift with another forklift. It takes a little time to get the timing right, but once you do, it's easy, and then you can pull off all sorts of antics in the game. In one of the mansions, you've got this gorgeous all-white house on the HUD. Here, there's a patch of grass positioned in the middle of the pool. It wasn't supposed to be there, probably just a slip-up by a developer. And speaking of developer slip-ups, a lot of people don't know this, but most of Rockstar studios aren't based in the United States. This ends up causing some really strange things in the GTA map, since they often forget they're not in England and end up flipping things like parking lot entrances. Here, it's clear the developer thought they were in England and put this wrong way sign on the right side, when it should have been on the left while going up the ramp on the right. You can see that it was really the right spot because there's the correct side to go up. This is a pretty common mistake and shows up a lot in the game. There's another really peculiar error on the map in this area at this roadside station. If the player isn't careful, they'll just drive straight through this structure. Without this structure, there's no collision, meaning the game doesn't know it's supposed to apply physics to this entire model. But apparently the developer only disabled physics for vehicles, meaning when we drive a vehicle through this structure, nothing happens. However, when you get out of the car and touch the same structure, the collision is there, so physics applies. This is very common in game development since you have options to enable or disable collisions. Sometimes the developer prefers to disable collision for smaller objects so vehicles don't crash into them, but in this case, they probably forgot to disable it on a large structure. What caused all these problems? The person who discovered this for the first time definitely must have gotten a huge shock. Subscribe now so you don't miss out on more. Thanks, see ya!